Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours.
Inside here, you get an insight and you know something, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
Rogue Esports, trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a wall. They're gonna take black. White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
A beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Sagarfor is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Blue manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the 8? They get the 8.
Welcome back, everybody, to CGL 1, where we're going to be covering the Diamond Division here of CGL Season 14 Playoffs Bracket. We have BGSU coming up against the SCAD Beesports team, the black team, of course. So, here we go. I'm Minevo, joined by the wonderful and talented Nacho Toast. Toast, bestie, my wonderful lover, my best friend, baby girl even. How are you feeling today?
We're feeling great. Like we were talking about a little bit before, we went live. Diamond Division is something that we're both very comfortable with. This is something that's very fun to cast, right? You never know what's going to happen. And, speaking from 2 players that, play in a Diamond Division every once in a while, on occasion, right? You have some really good and strong teams. I think that's what we have right now here in the losers round 2 of our playoff bracket, right? With BGSU Falcons, who, the 2 of us actually cast not that long ago. And then obviously Beesports Black over here, which is, again, a phenomenal name, right? These are 2 teams that are, very talented that, it's hard to guess what they're going to run every single time, but they're going to come out and they're well practiced on each of them.
And speaking of well practiced, I mean, we already kind of know our first map is going to be Control. It's going to be Lijiang. And everyone and their mother knows how to play Lijiang. They know what to run on Control Center, on Night Market, very, very simple comps that have been run forever and ever and ever on Lijiang Tower. So very excited to see how both teams are going to be starting off on such a familiar map of all things. And, that's really all I gotta say. They have shown and proven themselves multiple times throughout the series, from round 1 down over here in losers round 2. They have so much to work for here.
Yeah, and like you said, this is a very well-practiced map for most of the teams in this tournament as a whole. And especially when you're here in playoffs, picking this map usually favors this brawl style. But, when you have something like Gardens, like, even Night Market sometimes, you can opt into playing a dive. You can play a poke, right? It's a very flexible map. And so I'm excited to see what we're going to see coming out here.
First, we're going to be seeing BGSU Falcons and their lineup, the starting lineup for Lijiang Tower coming hard at you. We have Jarbrain and Fresh on that DPS line, of course. Fatal Turtle coming out on that tank, and the return of Wisteria and Kira Wolf in that backline. We have seen these guys multiple times in the past. They are absolutely phenomenal. They're really good at what they do. They love playing the Dragon Queen. They love playing that kind of that rush brawl style, which thankfully is really in right now. Is that Dragon Queen the brawl rush, the right? Watches me up with the brush.
No. Like you said, this is a team that is very comfortable in this JQ style. Even when we saw them playing, a few weeks ago, on Lijiang Tower, they forced JQ all 3 points, right? This is a team that wants to play this Junker Queen. And, Fatal Turtle is a comfortable Brawl tank player. They like playing Brawl. Their most played character is Reinhardt. So for them to take this Lijiang map pick, it makes a lot of sense to them. And, if you want to play a Brawl comp, this is one of the best control maps to do it.
You're absolutely right. And even better, we're going to be looking over at SCAD Beesports Black right now to see exactly who are the starting lineup? And of course, it's going to be the same people we've seen in previous series here, right? We have Ryan Optic and Shoto still here on this DPS line. Frosty Jack can be duking it out on that tank. And again, with that Dragon Queen favorite pick here, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see the mirror come through. Saya and Puppy in the back line playing that Brigitte, playing that Kiri, playing possibly the Juno with that Brig or the Lucio with the Kiri. Lots of variations can be happening in that front and back line, which is what kind of the cool thing is about what you can run besides, the Malgo.
Yeah, and like you just said, with Puppy on the Brig and Saya on the Kiriko, that gives a lot of options of do you want to play that Juno Brig that we've seen so much of the last few weeks? Do you want to play the more traditional Lucio Kiriko, right? That's been strong historically. It lets the Flex Sport shine a little bit more a lot of the time. And when you have a team like Beesports Black, that again they love playing this Queen Rush comp in particular. They love that Flashpoint game mode, right? That's something that they want to do. When you're on this Lijiang map pick, into another team that wants to play Queen, a lot of times it opens you up a little bit more into what you want to do. When you have this Queen mirror, you get that Kiriko Lucio, and then, you're playing off that, trying to get that Suzu, because, playing that Juno Break gets a little bit difficult when you have that Junker Queen mirror, because you have to be really smart with how you're positioning, and you really can't let that Junker Queen get a free rampage off.
Yeah, you can't. You have to be able to bait out certain cooldowns before you can go in. You have to be, as a core, you have to be, on the same target at all times. You split the attention a little bit too much, you're not going to get anything done, whereas the other team is finding the small little mistakes in your JQ comp, and with their own resources now refurbished by that point, they're able to go on to you so quickly, especially on, a map so polarizing like Lijiang Tower, where if you're not in the front seat, if you're not pedaling forward, first and foremost, you will absolutely get left in the dust, and the percentages will, climb right underneath you.
Yeah, and, what's important to note is I think, we can all agree, Juno Orbital Ray is one of the strongest ultimates in the game. So if you do end up, running this JQ with this Juno, watch for those rampages through those orbital strikes. That's going to be a complete shutdown of a lot of the value that Juno gets. And we're going to be loading into the map here. It looks like we will be playing on Night Market first here. And if this is, if there's a map to play Queen on, this is one of the better ones to do it.
It absolutely is. Night Market, probably one of my favorite of the three given to us between Gardens and oh my god, Gardens and Control Center, thank you. Night Market is one of my favorites. You have a lot of variation. You oftentimes see people on the Symmetra, which we do see on both sides here, to kind of get a fast start in the engage. We can see the teleport on top of the into the control point itself. You can also see that the backline looking a little bit different here with Steria and Kira Wolf. I remember this. The Moira was very popular with Kira Wolf here, and SCAD Beesports opting to go for that traditional Brigitte and the Juno.
Yeah, and Kira Wolf back on that, coveted Moira of hers. It makes it very hard for, anybody on SCAD Beesports Black to actually do much of anything. Run down one person on the team. But Ryan Optic going down immediately is going to help out BGSU Falcons.
It absolutely is. I mean, Fiddle Turtle duking out as much as they possibly can, but a lot more red in that kill feed than there is blue, right? I mean, albeit, they're still duking it out, trying to find this Juno who's so evasive from Saya, still finding ways to live, as it's going to be Beesports Black taking the victim first in their favor, and the fight is still ongoing as we speak. Here comes the Connors, the bleed damage. We've lost Wisteria for BGSU, who are continuing to duke it out, but the shot has been expended, and we can't get the Mega in time. Now we're forcing them, SCAD Beesports is forcing themselves into the spawn area of BGSU.
Yeah, and Shottle doing a really good job as that fight gets hectic. With how we often see these Queen comps, it gives that Ashe a free range to just start firing. Now both teams are switching off the Symmetra onto the Reaper. This is even more frontline pressure. Watch for Frosty Jack really close to this rampage already.
And that's horrifying, because they don't even have an answer to it quite yet. But here again, here's a shout. We trade things off here for the DPS. It's between Fresh and Ryan Optic. The rampage is huge. Finds Wisteria. Frosty Jack, still a menace. I mean, you still have your Ashe with you. You're trying to make sure they don't recontest and flip the point right underneath their nose. So Frosty Jack going in with the confidence. Great dynamite to help pursue this, basically being jumped by one person. But we rampage, and it only hits Shoto here. We get a recontest again from Ryan Optic, but it's all that she wrote. But they're able to bait out a rampage there.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, listen. if I see Shoto on the other side of the enemy lineup, right, I'm gonna be petrified too. Don't get me wrong, right? Rampage, maybe a little bit of an overinvestment there, but you know, you're getting close to this coalescence. You can take a really aggressive fight here with this Mei, you know, Reaper, and you know, if you're able to get this before this orbital strike and this Bob comes off critically, you know, it could be a win, you know, a fight win right there.
Big shot coming in, even better. Dynamite getting a lot of burning targets on the side of BGSU Falcons who are to keep themselves stationary on this point. Here's the coalescence coming through alongside that Bob. So a lot of frontline pressure coming in for SCAD Beesports. Easily enough that forces BGSU to kind of back up, give the point for a second, and then re-engage with another fight right after the fact. The wall inadvertently saves my puppy for just a second, but they do go down right after the fact. Shoto, like you mentioned earlier, if I see Shoto on the other side of the team, I'm also scared, getting 2 picks of their own here. FrostyJack now back in the fray, getting Fatal Turtle away from this objective, and we're still duking it out against Wisteria. 80% on this control point.
Yeah, and now it does take both the Orbital Strike and the Bob, but BGSU Falcons, you know, they have to wait a little bit too long to use the Coalescence. By then, they're on the back foot already, and now Ryan Optic here with the Death Blossom. There's going to be another Rampage on the field. BGSU Falcons has a whole ult bank of their own.
And they extend it almost immediately. Here's that Death Blossom. Jarbrain unable to Wraith with enough time to outlive that Death Blossom. We have one person on the objective. It's going to be Wisteria, who gets rallied, bashed, and stunned. And that is all that she wrote on that first round, going in favor of Beesports Black.
Yeah, and BGSU Falcons, they're in a tough situation there with that last fight. They have to go to touch point. They have a lot of ults to do it, but unfortunately, like we talked about, Ryan Optic has that Death Blossom. You know, he's able to just kind of rip it as soon as they walk out of the, you know, the doorway, and at that point, there's not much you can do, right? Now we're going back into another really heavy brawl map here with Control Center. You know, we've seen now both teams want to run this Reaper. They want to run this JQ. Fiddle Turtle hovering over the Diva right now. We'll see if it ends up staying, right? But with BGSU, if you're going to keep running that Mei, you need to be making sure you're playing for those Mei walls. Now it looks like Fresh is going to be moving over towards the Cassidy. Gives you a little bit more poke potential here, especially with this Diva, but still be very concerned for Fresh with that JQ going to be running down directly at their face.
And Fiddle on the Diva as well. I mean, you're coupled with the Cassidy. You have the Morris still from Kira Wolf. Beesports Black looking very strong on the JQ. Not going to be falling off away from it anytime soon, right? So BGSU Falcons has a lot of work to do here to put a dent in the JQ wall here. FrostyJack shouting right in. Here's the aggression. They go first, and Kira Wolf can't even fade out in time to avoid the absolute death power of the Drinker Queen. No peel from Fatal Turtle, at least in time for the second there. So they get demeched, immediately shut down, goes back to the spawn room, and we reconvene.
Yeah, and that's what's really tough about playing Diva right now, is you have to make the choice between peeling for the rest of your team and actually going for that more aggressive play. Fatal Turtle made the decision to go for the more aggressive play, and then JQ ended up in your backline. Now, switching over to the Orisa, this is going to be really good into how FrostyJack is playing this comp. No ults on either side, so it's a completely dry fight.
Oh, look at the separation! Oh, but we took ourselves! Oh no, Girl expecting a little bit too much. Wanted that push off of the side there, but FrostyJack barely lives.
You know that, and I mean that's heartbreaking. Again, it is a really good matchup. You have to be making sure that you're not overinvesting. The JQ is able to live a while, whether that's because she's able to dance around a lot with fancy footwork, or because of the shout. Right, it's really hard to punish the JQ fully like that, and they're going to be trying to do it again, push right back into the core of the team.
Yeah, even better. The corner push was even better to kind of punish FrostyJack and really separate them from the rest of the Beesports Black team, right? So now, BGSU Falcons coming in with the aggression with this Hyper Ring. I love Ryan Optic kind of going in and putting all the pressure on Fatal Turtle. And the Fortify being expended so early on. Here's a Javelin spin as well. But no one's really dying. Finally, Ryan Optic, who was just there to contest for so long, going down, but everyone's ignoring Shoto on this high ground, who is just allowing Puppy and reinforcing Puppy to stay on that objective pretty much almost uncontested.
Yeah, completely uncontested for the Ashe. Now, Puppy, like you said, when you have a Juno pocket on Brig, you're not going to die anytime soon. Fatal Turtle going to be staggering out a little bit here. It feels like maybe a little too aggressive, but no, FrostyJack's going to go down.
And we go for the Terror Surge, over the right coming through from the side of Beesports Black, but thankfully with just a Terror Surge and the Coalescence, the subsequent Coalescence, BGSU Falcons will finally be able to retake this objective in their favor, and they're about to have their own orbital coming up against Beesports' 4 ultimates.
Yeah, and BGSU makes actually a pretty good call there to say, hey, we got some late picks of our own. We can go in with these ults that we have. Now, you have the Death Blossom coming up on a, you almost have a Death Blossom. You have Deadeye, but you have Orbital Strike. But, Beesports Black has a lot of ults. And like we were talking about pre-show, this Rampage into this Orbital Strike is going to be deadly here. Combo that with the Death Blossom for Ryan Optic, and it might be very difficult for BGSU.
That's all they need. They only have 9% ready to go. But here's a Rampage. Almost gonna get too much. Only gets Fatal Turtle, however. But we're able to clean it right back up with that aforementioned Death Blossom from Ryan Optic. The Deadeye does shut down Saya from really being in that fight. So really good rally from Puppey to sustain SCAD Beesports' recontest and reignition in this control. Now 95%, they're pushing real up there.
Yeah, and it's going to be a struggle to get a touch here. Wolf might end up getting it, and she will. But picks going between both teams, but it is in the favor of Beesports Black right now.
Really good call on Shoto to kind of stay back, have that ball ready. Here's the ball coming from behind Shoto. Do they get a touch? However, no, we booped the wall. Couldn't touch in time. Oh my god, he's a bee. Stop.
Playing against Beesports Black with the bee skin, a little bit ironic. But, that last fight really came down to ultimate usage, right? It was actually a really good play from Fatal Turtle, stopping, the Rampage from hitting almost the entirety of his team. But, ultimately the rest of the team ended up kind of just sitting on the ults. We didn't end up investing the Death Blossom. And since, like we talked about, Beesports Black had such a heavy ultimate bank, they were able to invest, even though they messed up that Rampage. They threw out a rally. They threw out, I want to say it was their own Death Blossom, right? And when you have that ultimate bank to play around, it doesn't really matter that you messed up the first one, right? You still antied the Orisa. That's something, right? You got Orisa cooldowns out. So let's just dump more into the fight. When the other team doesn't quite respond to it, it does make it a little bit difficult. But I will say, that map, much closer. I really like BGSU Falcons and Fatal Turtle, especially playing this Orisa kind of style.
Yeah, for sure. I think the Orisa was a much cleaner pick here in favor of, BGSU rather than the Dragon Queen mirror they were trying to go for. Because it's very obvious that SCAD Beesports, they're very confident, especially with their own JQ always in there, always going first, not really afraid of being in the middle of BGSU's team because they have amazing support, amazing, target focus from the rest of the team backing up that kind of play. So for BGSU to go for the Orisa to, be kind of a wall, stop that for a second was a really good choice. I want to see a little more of that, especially as now we're going to be going into Survasa for our map 2, which again, JQ will absolutely be running rampant here.
Yeah, and BGSU had a bit of a tough choice ahead of them. Do we pick a comp that, a map that we think we're going to be comfortable on and keep running that JQ, which would be a Flashpoint map? Or do we try and pick something that, maybe the other team isn't as comfortable on? We know that, Beesports Black likes playing Flashpoint in particular, likes playing that Queen comp. It looks like they're going to be opting instead. We're going to just keep taking this mirror. We're comfortable. We think we had a close enough call. We think we have a read on this. Let's keep running it. So we are going to be going to Survasa here. Flashpoint will be our map 2, and I am definitely expecting to see more of this Queen Reaper composition.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I expect to see it regardless, just because of how strong the Queen, the Reaper, you can kind of use a Genji, a Tracer, an Echo with it as well. It's so strong here. No, from what I see, no substitutions from either side here, looking like we're going for the same 5 people per team. So SCAD Beesports already in a very nice, comfortable position. They have the confidence. They have that energy to go into Survasa with a full force, good head on their shoulders. BGSU, a little bit of work to be done, but if we go to Orisa here, I'm really excited to see if they will opt to do that, but no. Still going with that JQ, but now with the Lucio and Moira for a second at least.
So critically, if you remember BGSU Falcons game against actually, their junior varsity squad, this is something that they ran on this, Flashpoint map. They ran this Lucio, they ran this Moira. They like running this hyper aggressive style, and when they take these fights aggressively, they do a really good job of waiting and trading out the ults. The biggest issue they had previously is whether or not they actually decided to take those fights quickly or play a little bit more reserved, and now playing into that Juno Brig, and especially with that Ash of Shottle, it's going to be even more important that they are taking these fights aggressively and not waiting too long.
And both teams are going to go towards the inner corridor of the Survasa first objective here, which is interesting. You're forced into close space almost immediately. Here's a shout. A humongous axe hits at least 3 people. Gets a little bit of bleed off damage as well. But Frosty Jack still surviving after being so low for just a second. But it looks like BGSU has a great control of the point already, flips it in their favor first, and then goes right in for the engage, as you can see from Fatal Turtle kind of peeking out in this objective and going around the corner. But Saya finds the torpedoes, gets Kira Wolf called out a bit here, and without your Moro for that extra healing potential, you're relying on just Wisteria, who just can't keep up the team long enough on just Lucio heals. Really well done from SCAD Beesports, and a slight attack around Fresh is even better.
Yeah, and you know, Fresh is gonna get that wave respawn, so they'll be back in the fight, you know, with the rest of the team. But Beesports actually doing a really phenomenal job, just saying, you know, we know you want to play more aggressive. We're going to play a little bit slower. We're gonna kite. We're gonna absorb that first hit, and then once you don't have those cooldowns anymore, that's when we're going in. Watch how they're punishing Kirwolf without the fade, without the shout from Fatal Turtle, and now no ultimates online, but almost a Bob shot already.
The wall doesn't really find too much. They're down that imperative, that really important cooldown for the side of BGSU Falcons from Fresh. But Fresh is so close to this Blizzard. They just gotta, you know, get a little bit more active here to get that Blizzard off and be so good for this objective. But double rampage does come through from both Frosty Jack and Fatal Turtle. It goes with Fatal Turtle, as we had amazing damage on that rampage on the rest of SCAD Beesports. Now we do get one on Kira Wolf. Bob is on the point, but Bob's toe just barely being enough to contest the objective. Good wall, good retake. Bob now out of the fight, and now BGSU has some room to work with.
Yeah, Bob's slightly off point there, a little bit unfortunate. But, you know, critically, we trade rampages, and the big difference is Frosty Jack goes for that more aggressive rampage behind cover. You know, the rest of his team not able to follow it up, whereas Fatal Turtle, you know, we see Jarbrain TP in, and now heavy ultimate bank on the side of BGSU. They can take this fight on any terms that they want, essentially.
Good patience. Oh, but they're going straight in with that orbital ray from Saya. And the first target was going to be Wisteria. Here comes a flying Reaper in the air with a Death Blossom to boot. Wow. Very quick fight. It's exactly what you want to be seen on a drinking like this.
Yeah, very quick fight and a very good combo with the Orbital Strike and the Death Blossom. You know, we saw BGSU Falcons weren't quite ready for the fight to go that quickly. Kirwolf popped the Coalescence. That's the only ult that they used out of that heavy stack we were just talking about. Now, you know, they have both DPS ults. They have this beat. Only Puppy's, you know, rally is going to be, you know, in contention for Beesports here. But moving into this more open point, Shottle's going to have a field day with this high ground on Ash.
Yeah, Palace offers so much value for that high ground area, but the Blizzard just extended a little corridor and Jarbrain just to make sure that as people, you know, die, go for the Death Blossom alongside that Blizzard. Good wall off on the rallying Puppy there. And even if we expended both DPS ultimates, BGSU Falcons still looking very strong, as they just now lost Jarbrain, but nothing too much else. Good fade from the side of Kira Wolf, but I mean, they're getting chased down. Good peel back. SCAD Beesports still contesting this point, however. BGSU Falcons Fatal Turtle does have the rampage, and we're going straight against his backline, and Saya is not going to be living through a carnage as well.
Yeah, typically when you have these Reaper-based compositions, you expect things to die a little bit quicker, but both teams doing a really good job of just staying alive and kiting out a lot of this Reaper damage. Now, Fatal Turtle, originally, we saw it was about 50% ahead on the Rampage going into that fight, and now Frosty Jack is almost going to be mirrored, and there's a beat on the side of BGSU Falcons, so not much the SCAD Beesports is going to be able to do besides just hope that Bob is going to get a lot of value if we trade Rampages here.
Big Dynamite coming through as well. Shoto now has, again, like, the Bob is ready. Wister also has the sound barrier in the event of that extra sustain, but we have sought out a lonesome Ash who cannot get back to the team in time, and a good whip shot is not enough to deter Fatal Turtle from shutting down Puppy on this brig. 60% has already been expended on the objective so far. Saya narrowly able to escape by the skin of their teeth. We're still in favor of this objective for BGSU Falcons. Here's a rampage from Frosty Jack. It's a huge, doesn't really hit anything. Coalescence from Kirwolf to sustain extra harder. Saya trying to avoid this DPSing from Kirwolf, but it's not going to be enough. Another fight coming through.
Yeah, and messy fights. Bob ends up going out to missing point. That is going to be a cap for BGSU Falcons. You know, when you're talking about ult trading, normally you're not talking about a rampage for a Coalescence. One of those ults tends to build a little bit quicker. Jarbrain going for a reset there, clearly. But, you know, really good job from BGSU Falcons to punish the fact that Shadow wasn't rotating with the rest of their team up over towards high ground. And now we're moving towards another point where now actually this, you know, this Reaper this May is going to be a little bit stronger. We're coming up on both DPS ults. We still have a free beat, but both support ults online for Beesports, and they have this Death Blossom that Ryan Optic has shown he's very comfortable with.
Here we go. BGSU Falcons already on that objective. They have the space control, but there's a hyper ring there, meaning we're going straight in for SCAD Beesports. The sound barrier just narrowly comes up from Wisteria, almost on the cusp of an Ajax, but thankfully avoids that fate altogether. They have no Reaper. They have no frontline pressure. They had to reconvene. BGSU Falcons looking much stronger on Flashpoint than they did on Control.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught that too. My heart stopped for a second when I saw Wisteria going for that beat. It ends up being okay. Nothing happening. Both DPS ults still for BGSU Falcons. They only invested the sound barrier there. They're coming up on a rampage as well, so it can be mirrored with Frosty Jack for Beesports. And, you know, Beesports took that as a dry fight, so still all of those ultimates on the clock. We're going to be looking for BGSU Falcons to try and go for an aggressive play here. Play for this May wall right now.
Death is ready, of course. Hyper ring coming through. Big Dynamite as well. Here comes a Death Blossom and a Blizzard from Fresh, which, in all honesty, should be the game changer, but Ryan Optic avoids not one but both ultimates enough to bring out their own Death Blossom, and you trade basically 1 for 2? That's amazing for SCAD Beesports.
Yeah, Beesports, I mean, critically, they did invest the rally. They invested the orbital strike of their own. Obviously, Ryan Optic was a little bit more patient than I expected with that Death Blossom. But really quick fight from BGSU Falcons already, and Rampage online for Frosty Jack first.
And the blue teams are kind of split. They kind of reconvene around the right side of the point here. The Ice already expended by Fresh, so it's all about sustain, and should not be able to live through without that Ice block to their name. And just like that, Frosty Jack is finding the kills necessary, but so is Fatal Turtle. Can we get rid of the supports? Can we get rid of the rest of the team of BGSU? It looks like not. We still have that Reaper and that JQ living on the objective, shutting down Frosty Jack.
Yeah, and it was a good ult from Frosty Jack. The issue is, you know, Fatal Turtle and BGSU Falcons were already so deep. They'd already gotten the picks with their own Rampage that, you know, it's hard to get as much value, you know, because you don't quite have as much follow-up. You know, Beesports is going to be going for a touch here. We see Puppey is going to go down immediately, though, and now Fatal Turtle will just be chasing staggers as soon as he comes out, and this is going to likely be a point cap here for Beesports.
Yeah, it's going to have to be. I mean, they're kind of staggering in from their spawn room. I mean, they even go to the Kirik, go to touch it a little bit faster, but not gonna be enough. 2-1 so far in favor of BGSU. All they need is one more to go 1-1 in the series.
Yeah, very close, and as we see them walking, they are going to be, again, on another point where this Ashe might struggle. There's not too many angles that you can take over here on this final point, you know, or potentially final point, I should say, but Shotel does have this Bob online. Kira has the Coalescence. BGSU Falcons looking to hopefully take a little bit more of an aggressive fight. Beesports, you know, try to punish that rotation, that aggressive push with that Bob, and see if you can get that punished while, you know, there's a Robert Jr. there.
Oh, big wall coming through, kind of disrupts the flow of SCAD Beesports for a second here. Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't know where BGSU has found this this liveliness to keep this going, to bring it so close against SCAD Beesports, but they're taking this objective and running with it. Amazing, amazing turnaround between Control and now.
And only using the Coalescence. Beesports didn't end up investing their own Bob. They did build their own Rampage during that fight. No other ults online. Ryan Optic likely will be getting the Death Blossom in the middle of this fight, but now BGSU Falcons has almost everything. Obviously, they use the Coalescence, but everything else online. And again, you know, you have a Kirik on the side of Beesports Black now. It's something to deal with this Rampage, but it's not going to be a lot when you have this much of an ultimate bank for Falcons.
You're right. Here's a shot coming through from both sides. Here's Fatal Turtle going in for that Rampage that I mentioned earlier. The wall from Fresh kind of jumping a little bit here. A lot more value coming through from the second Rampage, and it finds Fatal Turtle. Fresh is bleeding and purple from the Rampage here, and all it is just a nice little cleanup set in place for SCAD Beesports.
Yeah, really, Beesports is doing a really good job just disrupting what BGSU Falcons is trying to do. BGSU Falcons playing this, you know, hyper death ball style, and when you have the Ashe, right, you have the JQ, you want to go in and mix stuff up, get that, you know, sightline up for Shotel, you know, and now again we have this Bob, we have the Death Blossom, and we have the Kitsune Rush here. Only really the beat and, you know, Death Blossom for BGSU Falcons. Again, they have to play this more aggressively, and with how Beesports, you know, has stacked up their ults, it's going to be hard for them to get that aggressive push off.
his dynamite here burning, and it does because find Ryan. It does find German for a second here, but we're speeding right in. The Suzu Ray is finished so early on. Here's double blossoms, and they both trade off for 2. No support on either side here. Unfortunately, Fry's Jack is going to be one going down, but everyone else is so low. Ryan Optic can absolutely take it here. Just 1, 2, and now she's against the Mei. Can we do? We don't have Wraith. We only have to teleport. I don't think we can do it. 5 HP left. We have the Wraith, and it's going to be enough to just get the wall off. And the ice. Oh, this is huge. But the Moira and the Lucio coming back in the nick of time. SCAD Beesports saying the same with Sai and Puppy both there just to contest as long as possible. Here's the continued rush. We use it so early on. No one else is really there to utilize it as best as possible. Bronze Jack does make it back. 99% has been shown up here on the scoreboard, but we flipped it as 93. Can they do it? Can they even touch? We have the Tracer here. No boop, but we do get overtime started here.
It is going to be a tough touch, but Puppy has to get this, beat offline to get the time for the rest of their team. Blizzard's going to make that really difficult with the rest of the touch coming in. And, just staggered fights on the last point. And, sure, the Ashe gets a lot of value in those situations, but when Ashe is one of the first people to go down, right, you tend to favor, a JQ, Moira, Lucio kind of style, right? You play that messier style, you converge on one person, right? And, it was a good job from Shotel to actually get that Bob in there and stall out as much time as they did. But ultimately, BGSU Falcons is going to win the map, and now that puts SCAD Beesports at a tough situation, right? This is supposed to be the game mode that you were the most comfortable on, and now, right, BGSU Falcons just showed that they are comfortable enough on this JQ mirror to take you to a map that you think is one of your best, right? So now you have another tough choice. You go to hybrid, which we know previously BGSU Falcons loves hybrid maps. That's something that they have historically shown that they are very comfortable on. So do we go to that? Do we go to an escort? Do we go to a push, right? But when you go talk about escort, we're moving away from the JQ mirror that we like at this point. Are we going to a push? Maybe a Coliseo, Esperanza, right? But then we're opening up poke and dive, maybe. I would assume we're probably going to be looking more towards that Coliseo angle and just let Shotel on that Ashe just get that free range and play a little bit further back and worry less about having a Reaper and a Junker Queen in his face.
Yeah, you have a lot of different options to really play around with here, and I want them to really stick to the JQ because it did work, and it wasn't even the comp that didn't work, it was just the stagger fights they were forced to have over and over and over again. And at least, it's more detrimental on a flashpoint, for example, just because, the objective only goes faster and faster and faster, and at some point, you realize, oh my god, they're at 99%, and I've lost a fight, and I've lost the point, so I really hope to go to like a push, even ruin a Sapi, since that's really favored for Queen. For the most part, at least most teams will typically run Queen there more often than they do on an Esperanza on a Coliseo, for example. But that's even if we go to a push, right? Because loser gets map choice and map pick here. So regardless, we are going to a very quick break. Don't go anywhere. Map 3 right over here in a couple of minutes. Welcome back after that very short break. We're ready to go into our map 3, 1-1 so far between BGSU Falcons and SCAD Beesports Black. I'm Somat Nevo, joined by the wonderful and talented Nacho Toast. We already have our map 3 locked down and loaded. It is gonna be Coliseo. So this happens a lot, Toast, where like my co-caster will like guess a map type at least, and they're usually right 9 times out of 10. So I don't know if it's me or
Yeah, no, you're like a lucky charm. That's what it is, you know. I wouldn't have known if you didn't give me the the correct energy of it. But like you said, Coliseo is the map pick. We're able to keep running the JQ if we want to do that, and we give Shoto that opportunity to play that long range hit scan that we know that he wants to play, and just get that sightline for free. Play a little bit further back if he needs to.
Yeah, pretty much. And Coliseo being the pick on push is not too common. Especially when you have Esperanza and Runasapi both in the same selection. Only thing weird would be going New Queen Street. That's literally the only thing that would be much weirder than that, because no one ever wants to go New Queen Street.
Who would pick New Queen Street? I can't
Who
think of
would pick
anybody.
New Queen Street? Runasapi right there. I don't know who would ever pick New Queen Street. But no, seriously, Coliseo. A little bit weird. You can play wherever you want there. I've seen kind of a lot in the past, especially in the past couple of weeks. Ball a little bit underrated. JQ absolutely can still be played there. Just kind of just bum rush it, go raw, and go crazy, go stupid. But we all seen Dive still be played there. Poke not too much, just because Poke hasn't really been in the spotlight for a bit, which is so unfortunate. I love Poke. I just sit there and I go burr burr burr, and I don't really talk that much. It's great.
Just sit
but
there and don't die.
I just sit there and don't die.
Like you said, Coliseo is a map that we don't see very frequently. And part of the reason for that is oftentimes you can kind of run whatever on it. It doesn't opt specifically into one style, right? You want to play that brawl style? Okay, well, we're going to, freeze it out a little bit during that main corridor, just play it slow and then not push that high ground until we have an opportunity to. You want to play dive? Okay, well, there's really long, sight lines, really good areas for us to set up on off angles to engage us on a back line, right? Like you said, you want to play poke? We have really long sight lines. We can go for that. So it's a map that is very flexible with how you can play, and that's why we've seen historically, if there's a meta composition, if you're playing Coliseo, you are playing that meta composition 9 times out of 10, right? Now, I don't necessarily think we're going to be doing that. I think we'll likely be opting to continue that JQ, but the reason we don't pick it very frequently is it doesn't really help anybody, right? It's just a continuation of what we've already seen. And for Beesports Black, that might be what they need, right? They had some issues staggering out in Flashpoint like we saw before, but a lot of those fights were still very close, and how we saw map 1 with a lot of these fights going in the favor of SCAD Beesports Black. If you think, hey, let's just keep playing it in a situation where we're not going to just completely lose an entire point off the map just from taking a bad stagger fight, okay, well, we like our matchup right now. Let's just make sure that we're able to keep playing it and nothing else is going to get messed up.
You're right, because pre-show we were talking about the staggers that were so detrimental on that Flashpoint, and like you said here, on push at least, but you're staggering, you're just wasting time. You're wasting time, you're wasting objective, you're making sure the other team does not get that much value. If you stagger kill yourself on that bot, which is so good on push. Flashpoint, it gives you nothing. It gives you absolutely nothing besides less progression. So I mentioned, poke could be played here, hasn't been played in a while, because of the more the reemergence of the Malga, of the Jungle Queen, of the Brawl in general. But Sigma gonna be here, played here by Fado Turtle with a Genji, with an Ashe. I mean, I have to commend BGSU. The comps that they're running are not just the same that we've been seeing from the pro play to the GM play to the diamond level play, right? It's different.
Yeah, and if you're SCAD Beesports Black, you might be expecting to run into a JQ mirror. This could, throw you off your game, especially we've seen Fresh is very comfortable on this traditional hit scan, but nope, they're going to go straight in. Fresh is the target immediately.
Yeah, Fresh is target number 1, public enemy number 1, but thankfully not going to be dying out quick enough for SCAD Beesports, but very quick enough at least to make BGSU disengage, so this bot does start moving in the meters needed for Beesports Black. Here's the Happy Ring though, the card only really finding a little bit of value. Ryan opted gonna be a victim of the burnt dynamite from Fresh here. That's absolutely massive, and there's a big reason why Fresh was that main target is because being uncontested, you get so much value on this Ashe here. Fight still going on. The objective is so close to being flipped back towards BGSU Falcons, but Frosty Jack is just refusing to die here. You've lost your Juno. What's the fight gonna look like? Especially as we go for the res, and we get the res off. We lose Hero, we lose our Mercy.
Yeah, it's a good trade though. Having the Juno up is a lot more valuable than this Mercy. A lot more healing on the line. You get to build this orbital strike. But watch, this Gravitic Flux is coming up for Fatal Turtle, and nothing is online yet for Beesports Black besides this Nano Boost is almost here.
Oh, good accretion rock out of to rock Frosty Jack out of that axe there for the Carnage, right? Absolutely amazingly timed. The Flux does get expended. Doesn't really find too much. Frosty Jack did go at half HP, but Fatal Turtle's own HP bar dropping down to 11 before getting the peel from Kiro, who's gone into the Valk now to get even more healing value to everyone else. We do get the rest of them fresh, but that little bit of lack of healing does make sure that Fatal Turtle does not survive into his next engagement.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the peel, but what a shield dance. And ooh, we've got some interesting swap spot. We have a Reinhardt from Fatal Turtle coming out, and so now we have a full Brawl v Brawl mirror, right? Obviously, a lot of ultimates online for Beesports Black here. Everything, almost a Death Blossom to make it all 5. But we still have the Orbital Strike and this Dragon Blade from Jarbrain. That is oftentimes enough to win a fight if we're playing around it correctly.
The checkpoint goes in favor of SCAD Beesports. They can wait a little bit. The Ryan is here. Here's the Rampage. Goes right through all the protection you need. Wisteria dropping down like a fly. Both Junos out of the fight here. But Beesports Black is a little bit, lacking in the support department here. Sai and Puppy both no longer in the fight here. The Fade does get punished by Shoto from Kira Wolf. And now it really is Jarvan by themselves with just a deflect. And bro disappeared. Don't know where he went either. Don't worry.
Jarvan might have vanished, but for a fight where we used 2 ults and BGSU Falcons didn't use anything, that was dangerously close. Shoto is going to get staggered out here. That I'm not quite sure Frosty Jack is trying to take this fight. Probably just building another Queen ult here. But we have point going back, and now we are in an open range. Fresh is back onto this Cassidy. We still have this Orbital Strike. We still have this Dragon Blade, and two of the biggest ultimates in Beesports Black competition are just gone now.
Oh, but there's 2 of them right in front of my screen. Both orbitals being expended here, but SCAD Beesports is a little bit better at sticking with their own orbital and getting 3 just like that. I mean, 4 with Fatal Turtle. Jarbrain again disappearing, no longer in the fight, dipped out of there, has the blade ready.
Yeah, Blade was still holding on to it. We have a Shatter to combo with it. And like you said, Beesports Black doing a better job playing within that, Orbital Strike. But, when you have a Juno Ring and a Shout, it's a little bit easier to make sure that you have a speed to push in with that. Unfortunately, BGSU Falcons only have that speed ring, but we're looking for the Shatter here. Ryan Optic has this Death Blossom as well, and dangerously low for Shoto here.
Oh, Shoto was dangerously low. Had to go use the Bob early on, and that probably was the best thing to do against Jarbrain, who was so close to getting the kill there on Shoto, and hesitated just a slight bit. No Blade either. Looks like they're going to be holding it for this next engagement on this bridge in the next fight.
Yeah, and again, some staggers are going to be coming out. Fresh is not going to get Fresh is going to get the wave with Jarbrain, but Wisteria is not at all. So now ultimates are still online for BGSU Falcons, but again, we've seen time and time again throughout the series, they like holding on to these things. They are not taking fights aggressively. So if you're Beesports Black, you don't need to have a heavy ultimate advantage if you know how you're going in. But this Rampage, this Death Blossom is going to be more than enough.
Wow, absolutely massive shadow does come through in the way of Saya, but here's the Rampage as it responds. The Death Blossom does come through from Ryan Optic, putting all the pressure on that shield from Fatal Turtle. Big Purple, do we get the kill on Jarbrain? No, just narrowly gets a 2-piece with that Dragon Blade. BGSU Falcons finally gets a little bit of footing under their feet.
Yeah, and they did end up investing, a lot of ults, but Beesports Black also, Rampage, Death Blossom, online, they only have this Nano Boost, and Fresh does have a Deadeye. It is a 1-for-1 ult fight here, but now if you look, BGSU Falcons Wisteria has switched over to this Kiriko, a little bit more healing for Fatal Turtle, but critically no speed, so Fatal Turtle is going to have to just anchor and take the brunt of the damage for Beesports Black and let Jarbrain and Fresh get this damage out for them.
Okay, we have gotten the budget back towards the middle, give or take, but SCAD Beesports still has that forward spawn advantage, and speaking of advantage, they also have 2 supports with them. So this bot has to go in the way of SCAD Beesports, and Fresh, unfortunately, not going to be escaping the loving arms of Ryan Optic.
Yeah, it's a tough stagger there. Fatal Turtle dangerously low, but will likely be getting out. I don't think Ryan Optic is going to chase this kill. And now, Beesports Black, you have both support ults. Shoto's coming up, likely going to be getting this Bob mid-fight. And again, nothing for BGSU Falcons. We watch Fatal Turtle has to sit here. There's no speed to go in or out. He has to take the brunt of the storm. And into this Reaper, that's not going to be a lot of fun for him.
The Reaper's right in the middle of my team, but Phil Turtle finds a shatter just in the nick of time to save the backline from the wrath of Frosty Jack and Ryan Optic. Are you serious? Insane pin there. Couldn't go the full distance, but still finds Shoto very, very early on. Support's now forced to back out almost immediately, and surely Puppy does.
Yeah, I think both supports are going to get out here. Good chatter from Fatal Turtle. And now, you're coming close to both of your support ults. A lot of ults for Beesports Black, but they might just try to freeze this fight out. They have such a heavy lead. They can kind of play a little bit more passive. It looks like, never mind, they are going to be going in here, and they are going to get both support outs immediately from BGSU Falcons.
Yeah, both supports are outs in favor of in trade-off with an Orbital Ray. I mean, you'll take any day of the week for SCAD Beesports. You've traded off the Reapers. You've lost your Junker Queen, so Fatal Turtle, that's the go button to kind of just go right in there until, a little bit of a nap time. No one, old man uses nap time sometimes for Reinhardt, so that's A-okay. Pushbot still going forward, and there's a run in my face, and no, we can't get away from it in time.
I mean, I don't think Shoto was expecting that one. I don't think we were expecting that one. And now BGSU Falcons, they're in a good spot here, right? They're able to kind of jam these chokepoints a little bit more. Beesports has to drop off of high ground to go for these fights. Looking to try and punish Fresh, who's back on the Mei. But Fatal Turtle moving very close to another shatter here, and we have to get a good rampage here if we're crossing Jack.
We have to. The nade has already been expended. We go for the death button instead. Good pin. Even better stun, but we have the
Frosty Jack.
Frosty Jack? My go? On the floor, and Ryan Optic still, gets punished for just existing in the same space as BGSU Falcons. The push bot trying to decide where to go here. Fresh not on this Mei, off the cast for a while now, gets the Blizzard almost right in the back pocket, taking care of Shoto in that sniper duel there. So very nicely done from BGSU, who have again woken up just in the nick of time with 2 minutes left on the clock.
And that's going to be a tough stagger onto Ryan Optic as well. And BGSU Falcons, like you said, Fatal Turtle especially doing a very good job playing this more anchor style. We saw it was a solo shatter onto the onto the JQ, but that means that they weren't able to follow up on the damage coming in from their Reaper. And now a Bob comes out from Shoto. There will be a Rampage online, but heavy ultimate advantage for BGSU Falcons.
Oh, we've gone for the Rampage. We've gone for the Bob. We've lost three important people on the side of SCAD Beesports. And I mean, it's time to just reconvene as a group and let this checkpoint take its time. Find your openings. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds left.
Minute and 50 seconds, and now we are moving to a part of the map where Mei is going to have a lot of value. These walls are going to be insane here on this bridge. It's going to force you to either drop out of the fight completely or face a Reinhardt head on. Now both support ults, another shatter coming online, and a continuing rush, and a really good job absorbing the aggression from Fatal Turtle.
Oh wow, and just like that, another shatter being built up so quickly, and good ult rotation. BGSU Falcons having the Reaper Blossom, they have the Mei Blizzard ready for this possibly last engagement.
And now both support ults are coming close for Beesports Black, but like you said, both DPS ults for BGSU Falcons, they're coming up on the Coalescence as well. Death Blossom and Mei Freeze, it's not something we see often, but that is a good combo if you get it right. Both deadly ults into what Beesports Black is running.
We saw definitely on-serve Blossom multiple times get so much value, but here's the purple, it's a huge throw on Fresh, but Jarvan goes for it, Death Blossom goes for it all and doesn't find anything. Here's a Blizzard coming in from Fresh. I mean, we wall ourselves off to save ourselves, but Fatal Turtle goes for the charge in and doesn't get the kill. They're leaving the bot by itself. It is 10 seconds left. Absolutely no one is going to be able to touch in time. Not even a tracer from Jarbrain.
Jarbrain going to try their best. Wisteria also might actually get a touch. Wisteria does get the touch off.
Oh my gosh, wait, right? They pushed the bot a little bit there. I think that actually did help Wisteria touch.
I think Wisteria is going to be the only touch there, unfortunately, for BGSU Falcons. But, we talked about that heavy ultimate bank that, those DPS ults, the really strong combo that we saw coming up for BGSU Falcons. But unfortunately, kind of just gave Beesports Black a much... I'm struggling how to phrase this. We gave them all the time in the world to actually poke and, take a fight on their terms, right? We have two ults that are very strong, very good, but unfortunately, they're very close range ultimates mod. So if we're gonna give, a composition that has a Junker Queen, that has a Cassidy, has a Juno especially, that time to actually go and build up their own ultimates, get that poke damage in, set up however they want to, it's really difficult for that Ryan composition, that Reaper Mei, to actually deal with that and actually get those ults off effectively. So really good job from Beesports Black to close out the end of that map there. But also, BGSU Falcons, I don't think we can understate, that was a really close map. And when you're down 125 meters within the first 5 minutes, I don't think we expect a close map a lot of the time. So really good comeback. The Reinhardt worked really well there. Really, it just came down to that last fight. I want to say they're about 5 meters off, but again, Beesports Black now up 2-1. They are going to be going to match point here in our series after that push map.
Yeah, they did amazing. You know, I'm glad they were able to reconvene in time before the bot inevitably was pushed closer and closer to where, you know, the match would have basically ended at that point because they had a minute left. And they're able to build up that orbital, able to build up that nano right in the nick of time. They shut down Jar's Death Blossom, which was also absolutely massive. That was one of their win conditions. And Fresh throwing out the Blizzard when they were right down 3. I mean, at that point, you kind of have to. You know, your Mei's not, you know, the fastest of characters in the world. You know, if she dies, there's no recontest with the Blizzard in general. So I applaud BGSU. They went out, they almost took it back 0 to 125, and you know, going into map 4, we've established, you know, we've gone for control, we've gone for flashpoint at this flash clash at this point, we've done push, now we're forced into either escort or hybrid. Hybrid, I think, would be a little better just because you have the idea of maybe a full hold on the first objective. Other than that, it really could go either way if we want to keep running the Junker Queen, or if we want to, you know, take it with the Reinhardt, go King's Row, mayhaps.
Listen, I will never say no to gaming as you mod, but like you said, you have to pick between escort and hybrid, and we know BGSU Falcons, you know, they've said multiple times and they've shown throughout the tournament, like we talked about earlier, they are very comfortable on these hybrid maps, right? The downside to that is that's a map type where you can pretty easily run JQ a lot of the time, right? Historically, you know, those escort maps usually are a little bit harder for somebody like a Junker Queen to be played. And King's Row is going to be the map pick. We might see more Reinhardt mod, but especially in these Diamond divisions, hybrid maps and King's Row in particular, I think we can both agree, are very comfortable maps for these teams. They're, you know, it takes a while for a lot of these players to figure out how to, you know, play hybrid maps more effectively. Or I'm sorry, escort maps more effectively. Hybrid is a lot easier, much narrower quarters a lot of the time. You know, going for that first assault point, it makes it a lot easier for these players to understand, hey, this is how we're taking this fight and this is what we're doing. And King's Row, Scrims Row, the most comfortable map for, I think, almost any Overwatch player at this point.
Absolutely. And when you clearly have someone who's willing to go the Reinhardt into Junker Queen, into Reaper multiple times, and even, you know, be the strongest on that composition, it's even better, you know, to go King's Row, to know that this is kind of where that brawl does become very favored, especially on the first phase and on the streets phase of side of things. So ideally, I do want to see BGSU take it, you know, bring us to a map 5. Here's your starting rosters again. No alternates, still the same people duking it out, especially the showdown between Fatal and Frosty. That has been extremely entertaining to watch, regardless if they're mirroring the Junker Queen, whether it's a Ryan into a JQ or reset into JQ. It's very, very entertaining seeing these two tanks go completely at it in, honestly, in some of the most even games I've seen today.
Yeah, I mean, across the board, these mirrors have been very fun. Jarbrain versus Ryan Optic also has been, you know, a pleasure to watch. Saya versus Wisteria. And we are going to be seeing BGSU Falcons is going to keep playing the Reinhardt. And, you know, to the surprise of, I don't think either of us, Beesports Black is going to be playing the Junker Queen again. And that is part of the downside to running hybrid, is this is a map type that you can continue to run this on. And now, historically, is Reinhardt a little bit better known on King's Row? Yes, but both compositions are very strong here. It really hinges on BGSU Falcons, especially on this defense, playing around this Mei wall and getting these heavy brawls out, not letting Shoto, who, you know, is a more traditional hit scan player, get these angles and get these picks off.
We have the Widow from Shoto, first and foremost. Goes right at the top. It's a little bit of a dink on Fresh there, but not quite enough. Mei health bar pretty sizable for her character, so she lives those any day of the week. The wall does block out Shoto for a second. There we break it narrowly. It goes for the middle pillar, doesn't find anybody. Again, nicks the shoulder on Fresh there, but I mean, it allows Beesports to kind of push in with BGSU a little bit scared of the that spacing away from Shoto on this Widowmaker, and it just allows, I mean, BGSU, they find their footing. They realize, okay, Shoto's not really getting the shots needed. They're not set up on this high ground. They're able to find two, being Ryan and Frosty, and they reconvene as a group back to the spawn room.
Yeah, and Beesports Black going a little bit too aggressively. Like you said, they're not giving Shoto the time to actually set up and go for these picks. And BGSU Falcons doing a really phenomenal job of actually just absorbing that aggression, acknowledging, hey, we are going to win this brawl out. Let's let them just walk into us, right? There's no reason to run away. And we're going to be seeing this once again here. Kirwolf is going to Ryan Optic immediately.
with the more order of all things as well. So you gotta be a little more weary about on a map like this where they can bounce around very effectively in these close quarters. So trying to get out of there as fast as possible. And the grapple is there, and there we go. Good peel back from Saya. Puppy now going to the Ana, and Frosty now we have entered the Mauga.
We have entered the Mauga zone, and now this is a situation where Fatal Turtle should be petrified, running Reinhardt in the Mauga. Not very comfortable, especially when this Mauga wants to go in as aggressively as we've seen Frosty Jack go now. Fresh having this death block, or not, sorry, this blizzard here is going to help out a lot. Fatal Turtle with this Earth Shatter is what we all want to see.
Let's come through. Here comes the Shatter. It's absolutely massive. But we still lose Mysteria, and thankfully Fatal Turtle gets the pin off in time to shut down Frosty Jack. Fresh does throw out that Blizzard, but Shoto again gonna be uncontested on this high ground and finds the Pixie to contest even longer. It's just a Reaper. We get the purple off. We go for the teleport. We go for the Wraith, and just one more nick is all they need to make Jarbrain go back to this bomber. But they're waiting for a recontest with Fatal on the Sigma.
Yeah, Jarbrain gonna be waiting for this global healing passive to kick in, and Shoto maybe a little uncomfortable here with the Reaper in the face. And now Death Boss is online as well. So immediately going to be popped here. Fatal Turtle has switched over the Sigma and gets Shoto down.
Oh man, Jarbrain also goes down. No, gets slept through that Death Blossom. Here's the orbital ray from Wisteria just for that extra contest and extra longevity alongside Saya's. The Nano Boost also being utilized here. And look at the defense posture of BGSU. They have pushed Beesports back towards as if they were on the defense side of things rather than the attack side of things, and just shut Frosty away from the rest of the team.
And BGSU very clearly comfortable playing into this Mauga. We saw Fatal Turtle immediately just drop over to the Sigma. Anytime we see the Cardiac Overdrive come out, we are just popping our hands and then waiting for it to be over. You keep this Reaper, you keep this May. It's very hard for Frosty Jack to get a lot of value when you don't get that Cardiac. Now you will have the Cage, you will have the Blossom. This is a deadly combo. BGSU Falcons does not have much that they can really do about that if they walk into it all as one.
Hopefully they get the Flux off, right? You're 80 to it, but this Cage and this Blossom is rapidly approaching to be a threat, especially as they're all clumped up together. They've lost Saya, and they are about to lose Frosty. The Cage is shut down. We Ajax the Cage. That's absolutely massive, and there's no Blossom either. 30 seconds left of the clock, Toast. It's looking much better for BGSU than before.
I mean, amazing opening pick onto Saya. That makes it much harder to win the fight, but then getting that rock onto Frosty Jack, now they have no ultimates. They're switching over to the Jungle Queen to try and get a faster touch, a faster fight here, but Fresh still has this Blizzard. Fatal Turtle has the Gravitic Flux. It is going to be so hard for Beesports Black to get this fight unless Turtle incredibly pops off and kills a few people.
So he needs to pop, he needs to lock in now or never. Here comes the knife in, kind of put Fresh in a little bit of an uncomfortable position, but able to reconvene back to the team here. We've lost Kira, we've lost Ryan, a little bit even so far, 4v4, but a Flux comes through and shuts down the approach from SCAD Beesports. They did get 66.8% on the board here, so it's absolutely possible. It's just so much harder.
Winnable, but like you said, very difficult. You have to go for the fuller hold and try and get that, at most one tick, not much more than that. And like we said, BGSU Falcons very comfortable into the Mauga. I think Beesports Black thought, okay, well, we know what's doing into a Reinhardt. We just play, Mauga into Reinhardt. That's what everyone does, right? But BGSU Falcons very quick swap over to the Sigma, which you don't typically see with a Reaper and a May. I think we can both agree that that's a slightly odd pick, right? But very clearly, it became very clear quickly that was very obviously just entirely shutting down that Mauga. And Frosty Jack, it looks like, is going to be sticking on this Mauga. Fatal Turtle is going to be locking the Reinhardt to start off with, but I would imagine we see a swap pretty quickly off.
Yeah, I have to agree here. And it looks like Fatal Turtle sticking with that Reinhardt after getting so much value. I mean, you only went to the Sigma right after the fact, and the Sigma got even more value, but SCAD Esports going with, Beesports, not Esports, excuse me, going with the Mauga again, and now the backline of the Juno and the Baptiste is very interesting indeed, and Puppy's gonna be there a little bit later, but with 10 seconds to spare, they should be able to be set up in time to ideally have a great hold here, especially with Ryan Optic now on the May.
Yeah, and like you said, the Puppy on the Baptiste, it's going to be a slightly less greedy option. The Ana, a little bit more vulnerable, but you're playing for those anti-nades. Now you're playing to sustain this Mauga a little bit more, keep this frontline damage going. Fatal Turtle is going to be running this first fight out on Reinhardt, not going to be switching, and they're going to be likely going for a quick wrap around Statue.
Oh, they are right up and now they're able to get a wall off here on the initial push in from BGSU Falcons. Now they're trying to go eased in through Hotel. Now wanna go through Hotel. Wisteria's a little bit behind, super low already on that Juno character. And they're the first target and the first one to go right back down. Shoto on this Reaper, I mean, such a great choice for SCAD Beesports here, as they've already taken care of Wisteria. Now we go for the slam in and putting all the pressure on that big old shield from Fatal Turtle. Means they have to really retreat back to these walls around the statue and wait for Wisteria to come back.
Yeah, Beesports honestly not pushing the advantage as much as they maybe should. Now BGSU Falcons, they have 5 people. They're able to go for these fights once again. They're coming closer and closer to this Blizzard, this Coalescence, and you don't have anything if you're SCAD Beesports. Shoto getting Jarbrain down is going to be a really good start.
That wall was absolutely massive in favor of SCAD Beesports from Ryan Optic. I mean, Fatal got put in a very uncomfortable position on that Reinhardt, and there we go. This is what SCAD Beesports wants. 3 minutes on the clock already, a little bit less than now, and they've already built up a cage, a Blossom. They're about to get a Blizzard as well.
Yeah, and like you said, a lot of ults for Beesports Black. Fatal Turtle is going to be switching over to the Sigma, maybe a little bit too late though. You know, you have these ultimates coming online, but if you don't take this fight dry and you try and, you know, go into this cage Blossom and see if you can just win it, it's going to be a little bit difficult. That's a very deadly combo, unless of course we Ajax Malga, which we've seen this afternoon already.
Oh, we're going for the cage early on, and the Death Blossom. I mean, the Gravitic Hands do come through to kind of negate the big damage that Shoto was looking for, but, I mean, that's a imperative cooldown that we can absolutely punish by just hurling in all of our focus on Fatal Turtle, which is exactly what happens. We have now shaved off 1.5 minutes on the clock here, just 2 minutes to go on this attack.
Yeah, and it was a nice try from Fatal Turtle. Rock was a little bit off, but good hands. Unfortunately, the cage on its own is more than enough to deal with what you had at that point. Kira Wolf's Coalescence is not going to be enough, but you have a lot of ultimates now for BGSU Falcons, a few for Beesports Black, but you can trade those out very effectively and play around, you know, this Orbital Strike and this, you know, Blizzard lineup.
They might have to use the Blizzard early on, but Shoto coming in for a little backline pressure, even more so on Shoto. I'm sorry, on Fatal Turtle here. Fresh not able to get the Blizzard off in time, gets shut down by Saya on the Juno here. So another contest needs to, rejoin needs to happen for BGSU with about 1.5 minutes left. They still almost have all 5 ultimates.
Almost all 5. Beesports only use the window now, so they have almost everything as well. They're going to get this cage and boss them up in the middle of these fights. And if we don't get a good flex from Fatal Turtle, it's going to be a lot harder, especially with how fast Beesports Black is playing.
Oh, and good reflex is not what I see today. Gets absolutely nobody. Here's the Blizzard and the Orbital coming in from BGSU Falcons, going in for everything needed to win this engagement off. Here's a Blossom coming in from Shoto, but a better Rock just kind of shuts them down. Ooh, they're going for the Tracer. They should be able to get at least a overtime touch here.
Yeah, it's going to be tight, but Puppy's going to get the first touch. Right off, he's going to come in, live a little bit longer, but very tight. Gets the second touch. No more coming out for Beesports Black yet. Mauga is on the point, almost has a cage on.
Almost has a cage, and almost has it. Has to stay alive a little bit longer through his Coalescence. And there's the cage. They're all trapped here, but no one can touch in time. In fact, I would argue a little bit of a C9 from Shoto on the corner.
And now it's tough in Shoto's defense, right? You have your Wraith Forest, right? There's a Coalescence on point. It's very difficult to get that touch on mine. But, I mean, really good job from BGSU Falcons there. You know, even though, you know, they missed the Gravitic Flux, it was tragic. They had the ultimate mech, they were able to really continue it on. And we can see the Gravitic Flux that, you know, kind of sealed their defense for them there. You know, Beesports Black, you know, they had that, you know, cage, that Blossom coming online. You know, once that Gravitic Flux misses, maybe just kite out a little bit. Stop trying to take that aggressive fight. They were doing a really good job throughout their defense, pushing those advantages and making sure that, you know, BGSU Falcons didn't get that poke battle that they really wanted with that Sigma. You know, weren't able to, you know, nullify the Mauga's impact as much as they had that first round. But, you know, ultimately when it comes down to, you know, that last fight there, if you don't have those ultimates and you're so close to getting that deadly combo, maybe just slow it down a little bit more. And now BGSU Falcons have brought it to 2-2. We are going to a map 5 here, and SCAD Beesports Black has the tough choice of which escort map to take it to.
And that's the problem, right? Because we didn't even get to the escort phase of hybrid. We just played control, but only one power control. That's all we did. That's arguably all we did. But We will go to a very quick break, but first I want to talk about what's going on the other side, the other channels of CGL. We have a bunch. Oh, that's Chica. We have a bunch of different matches happening as we speak. I mean, we had one just today, earlier today in the in Europe, in the EU. We have Lunar Falcons going 3-1 against DYS budget approved. Then, of course, we have this right now over here on CGL 1. Anera and RG Varsity just concluded with a 3-0 in favor of Anera. And then right now, again, we have Franklin Phoenix and Beagle Bus just starting off a little bit later, but starting off very strong in favor of Beagle Bus. They're still ongoing on the other CGL streams here, that being CGL 1, CGL_2, and CGL 3. So go check those out while we're on break for about a couple minutes before we get into this map 5. And we'll see you after the break.
Inside here, you get an insight and you know something, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
And we're back, of course. We have a game 5 for you guys tonight. I wouldn't have it any other way, and neither would Toast, of course. So we're back here to finish this out strong between BGSU Falcons and SCAD Beesports Black. We're going over to the beautiful place of Havana.
Havana, beautiful city. I haven't been there, but so I've heard.
Me either.
And historic, like we were talking about, going into Coliseum, not a lot of people play poke nowadays, right? But if we're gonna play an escort map, you might as well play poke, right? You get these long sight lines, right? And when you have a player like Shoto that wants to play this traditional hit scan, play this Ashe, play this Widow, you might as well, right? So it makes a lot of sense for Beesports Black. But you and I were talking in between during the break. Funnily enough, you know what you could also run on Havana?
Yeah.
Is you can run a Reinhardt. You can run that guy with a big hammer, right? It gets a little bit trickier on third point, right? But this is a pretty strong brawl map if you're comfortable playing that. So, really interested to see how this ends up panning out because I'm definitely expecting to see a brawl versus a poke matchup here.
Absolutely, and we've seen the hints of the Sigma come through multiple times on King's Row, and it's still Sigma lives in our hearts, and he's still strong as a character. It's just ignore the big Samoan man in the roster, and we have tanks in the game, so we're gonna be seeing probably the Reinhardt, the Sigma, maybe a little bit as well if the Rein ends up not working for a bit, but pretty sure we're gonna be sticking with that Jungle Queen comp from SCAD Beesports because they've been very, very reliant on it. They know it works. They know all they have to do is they're like, counter picking is not real in my heart. We don't care about counter picking.
If you don't think about it,
if you don't think about it, it's not real. It's not there. We just have to tweak ourselves, tweak our game plans, and play around whatever BGSU is gonna be running. Whether it's the Malga, whether it's the Reinhardt, whether it's the Sigma, it doesn't really matter. SCAD's really pretty good at adapting on the fly if need be. So with Havana being the pick here, I actually am, for once, not sure what we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, and SCAD, again, they've shown that they're comfortable playing the Malga, they're comfortable playing the Junker Queen, like you said, but, we've seen a lot throughout the series. They are playing this Reaper and they're playing this Mei, right? Shoto plays that more traditional hit scan, but, we saw it last map, they kind of caved and went for that Reaper Mei matchup, right? So BGSU Falcons, we've seen almost exclusively Reaper Mei. Fresh has alternated a little bit, right? But those are two heroes that maybe not the strongest on Havana. So for Beesports, I think freeze it up a little bit, try and go back to this more traditional style, and we are going to be seeing a very, very traditional poke comp from Beesports on the attacking side. But if you look over to BGSU Falcons, on the defense, we have an interesting little DPS line there, don't we?
Sticking with the Reaper, sticking with the Mei, and again, having so much value on both those characters, especially as you have the Blizzard and the Death Blossom combo together. It's kind of like your own messed up version of the cage fight with the Blossom. If you really want to think about it, big circle, go burr. You're stuck inside it, Blossom, go burr, right? So, double Sigmas here. Excited to see double snipers from the attack room of SCAD Beesports. I want to see they're able to get a big pick here. I mean, oh my god, it's Zenyatta. I love you, Zenyatta.
We have Zenyatta on the field. It is great. Good day to be a flex 4 player. But critically, Beesports is going to need to take these angles and try and take this front to back play against BGSU Falcons. Reaper and Lair are probably going to win, and Shoto getting a really good pick onto Fresh to start off.
Wow, and that was also through the lead, so it kind of was just like, I know you're going to shade, you're going to, go over to the left or the right, so really good winners from Shoto, and that's a big opening for SCAD Beesports to just cruise on along with this payload. The Discord Orb from Puppy, so good. Great target focus, but Shoto kind of being dove in by a little bit by this Reaper. The newly, that didn't even hit. The newly, the platform there on the middle window, so good for Shoto to stay alive even longer. And Kirwolf not even in the fight anymore. Can we get the pick on Jarbrain? We absolutely do. It's Shoto popping off on the Widowmaker on Havana.
Yeah, and already we can see BGSU Falcons, they have an idea of what they want to do. They want to anchor this. They're sending their Reaper over onto the Widowmaker. Jarbrain is going to be switching over to the Genji now. I'd expect we see Fresh switch over to Hitscan now. But, Beesports Black is running what is historically a good comp on this map for a reason, right? Take the angles, go for these headshots, use these long sight lines. Fresh actually going to be staying on the main here, probably because close to the Blizzard here. But now, if you're Beesports Black, you keep playing these angles, you keep trying to get this pressure out, let Shoto get these picks, and it's going to pay dividends for you. But maybe not this fight.
Maybe not this fight. Get the pick on Shoto, in fact. Don't let Shoto get the picks. Get pick on Shoto. It's perfect. That's how things work around here at BGSU. Good rock coming in, gets caught a little bit on that corner there, but kind of stops the payload from moving even longer. Oh, lamp array expended, and Fatal Turtle sees no lamp get active, and getting active, they absolutely will. The wraparound on Frosty Jack was so well coordinated from BGSU. I have to commend that.
Yeah, really good play from BGSU, especially with Jarbrain switching over this Genji, right? You know, with Reaper, you kind of one-dimensional. You are going front to back 100%. Jarbrain now on Genji, you have a lot more versatility with how you can play these fights out. You can push these in, you can also sit back, control angles, and poke. Now, a lot of ults for Beesports Black, but Fresh does have this freeze. Fatal Turtle has this gravitic flux. They have the ults that they could use to win this fight. You just have to be very careful of Puppey with this Transcendence here.
He got bait out somehow by putting a little bit of pressure on the Zenyatta, but I mean, here's a Flux coming in with the Dragons to boot. Does find absolutely 2 people with it as well, and that's absolutely massive for SCAD Beesports. Now they have cruised their way already halfway along the second objective, now third, so close, and that's where they're going to be really popping off with these double snipers.
Yeah, we talked about the ults that BGSU has, what they could use to win the fight, but ultimately if Shoto kills one, it doesn't really matter, right? Now they have the ults to contest here, not quite a lot for Beesports Black, but you know, if they're able to jam them this hallway, it's not easy for them to walk out without Ryan Optic and Puppey getting the fix.
And there's no Blizzard online either, unfortunately, for this last fight, which arguably is a really good place to just kind of put that Blizzard down in. Last minute Flux comes through from Fatal Turtle, likely gonna be swapping off the Sigma since we fluxed in such a, you know, Hail Mary scenario, and looks like,
But we might have a Winston on the board, and now you combo that with Jarbrain on the Genji here, you have a Moira, you have a, you know, very flexible, very mobile backline. If you're Saya, if you're Puppey, if you're Shotel even, I'd be starting to get a little bit scared here. Fresh does have this Blizzard, it might happen downtown or from the spawn room.
Might have to come from somewhere, but Shoto still find these picks. Like you said, when Shoto gets a pick, I mean, back up. You gotta take another fight without your Mei, but through the Blizzard, Fresh is going right to the Widow. Said, I've had enough. I've waited too long. We need to do this Widow. We need to win these Widow 1v1s. But Saya, I mean, catches Fatal Turtle on that jump out, and you're down your Widow. You're down your Winston for now. Fresh trying to go over to the Widow angle TM, but just nearly gets spot out by Shoto.
Yeah, and obviously Shoto doing a really good job getting these opening picks, but really good job from Frosty to get that shield off. The Fresh was peeking with Shoto having no idea. Very close. And now Buffy getting the pick on a Fresh. Fresh not having a fun time at all. Discord Orb onto Fatal Turtle, and he's going to fall immediately.
That's my Zenyatta! Thank you! You know how rare it is to ever catch like a full volley on a Widowmaker? Oh, I'm so happy today. Observers, I love you. I'm kissing you. We're pushing the payload. We have Kira going off the Moira over to the Mercy here. A little bit unconventional, but you still have the orbital ray. You have that extra healing from Kira Wolf on that Mercy, but Fresh is not in the fight. You've lost them with the Hanzo, with Ryan Optic popping off. Here comes the Transcendence in the back line as a response to that orbital ray. Fresh now going over to the Sojourn after realizing, oh my god, we're in a very close engagement here on third objective.
Now, Blade for Jarbrain, if they need it, Shoto is going to get Fatal Turtle. They will likely need to invest. Gravitic Flux comes out, but it will be shut down by Fresh immediately. Now, if you're Beesports, you need to freeze. Falcons get a chance to breathe now. Beesports has a few ultimates online, mainly these 2 DPS ults, but BGSU Falcons has this Blade and Puppey. Critically, like you mentioned before, there is no orbital strike online to deal with it.
I also can breathe a little bit, thankfully. Thank you, guys. I need a little bit of a break. No, I'm kidding. We have sights online. We're kind of waiting off. We have the Sonar Arrow in that backline where you can really see where Kira and Jarbrain were kind of playing around with on that Mercy, on that Genji. Kind of playing up that top sight line there, but SCAD Beesports already coming in with the aggression, pushing Philip once again through third objective of Havana. We have the Blade ready, and honestly, Kira Wolf is probably going to be damage boosting that ultimate the entire time. So really hope to see that come through. But I mean, the poke phase is just that. There's the poke phase. But I mean, oh, the Dragons come out of nowhere. They find Jarbrain, who is a little bit, you know, caught off guard here. But the res does come through, so it's like it never happened. But you've lost your tank to this window from Saya, which just covers this entire area and forces Fresh to play, as you can see, in a little bit of an off-angle position that's a little bit unfavorable to themselves. It's just Fresh here to contest, and Ryan Optic is right on top of it.
Yeah, and Fresh was going to switch over to Reinhardt, maybe get a touch for a second, but, you know, like you said, phenomenal Dragon coming in from Ryan Optic. Is slowly but surely going to fall and die. But Jarbrain, you know, when we have this Blade, we're playing this Winston, we're playing this, you know, you know, Juno, we need to play a little bit more aggressive, right? When we have both snipers on the enemy team, we have a Sigma, we have, you know, a BAP Zen, right? The only thing you have to worry about is Lamp, but, you know, if you just talk to your Soj and say, hey, can you just shoot that thing for me, right? A lot of times that's not an issue, right? So BGSU Falcons holding on, having actually a pretty good 3rd-point hold considering the time bank that, you know, they went into that point with, but ultimately the inaction ended up costing them, and Ryan Optic with that Dragons really cracked that fight open for them, and now we're really seeing why SCAD Beesports Black chose this map. This is something that it feels like they are very comfortable playing.
Yeah, it's almost as if, like, before the Malga meta really started to shine a little bit here, they were just like, hey, we can play the Sigma really well. Well, we just played it all the time. It's like they're going back to their roots, right? I love to see that. And especially when you're on a map that kind of enables you the way that Havana does, just because of the long sight lines. You have double snipers, you have Sigma, that's just the best tank in the world, Baptiste and Zen. We're so back. We are so back.
We are so back.
Like never before. Jarbrain now going over to the Widow, Fresh staying on the Mei. So, you know, interesting. I mean, we haven't really seen Jarbrain on that Widow so far in this series. So I really want to see what the difference will be into Shodol.
A lot of times it's a confidence thing, but it could also just be, hey, we're running the Reinhardt here. We want to brawl. Fresh is our, you know, Mei player. Let's just throw Jarbrain over onto the Widowmaker, see what they can get done there. And again, we have a Reinhardt. We are going to brawl it out. Moira is going to be pushing cart. Jarbrain taking some pot shots at the Sigma Shield to start off.
And they're waiting. I love watching a Widow do it. It's always so intense, but we've stopped looking at Shoto for just a half a second. And there goes Jarbrain, all just gone. And Ryan Optic not flying too far behind onto the pick on Wisteria. So Jarbrain now going over to the Venture, a character we haven't really seen in a little bit here. So I'm very happy to see them back in the fray.
They can dig that, and that is likely going to be Shodol on the off angle, right? If we're playing this Ryan composition, we want to play corner to corner, but the issue right now, Shodol is just sitting here uncontested, right? So let's throw a Venture over there, see what they can get done. And now no ultimates online for either team, but we see BGSU Falcons playing in this close quarters, ignoring Cart for right now, trying to get this brawl onto Frosty Jack.
I don't know if you're looking at the top left corner, but Fatal Turtle's health bar went from like 100 to 30% in 2 seconds. It was actually quite scary to see. Look at the spam coming from this angle, but Fresh. I mean, Shoto was speaking for a little bit too long. Fresh finds the double icicles needed to take down Shoto immediately from that high ground. So finally, we've forgotten the cart. Just so we know.
Yeah, they got it eventually, right?
They got it, yes.
A few trades coming in back and forth, but like you said, really good shots from Fresh, and now you're in a spot where now we've disrupted their setup. Now Beesports Black, you know, they have time to recontest, but they have to come into our setup. They have to come into us jamming these choke points in. We're down Arjuno, but that's okay. We are going to force you to swing out. Make sure you are playing Zingles very quick, you know, very smart, very correctly, and you know, Ryan Optic has to be a little careful if it's not a Jarbrain on top of you.
That's absolutely true, but the grip of hands have been expended. Here comes the Flux as well. Good berry, meaning Jarbrain not going to be in that Flux either. So only guy that definitely gets is onto. I'm sorry, is onto Fatal Turtle, who does go down, right? Optic on this Hanzo finds so much value. I'm sorry, the wall off on Jarbrain when they're trying.
They both have the right idea. Fresh is trying to wall off the Widowmaker, Jarbrain's trying to go kill her. Unfortunately, they both did those at the exact same time, so it ended with neither of them getting a lot of value of what they're trying to do. But now BGSU Falcons, they do have a lot of ults that they're coming up on, right? They have the Shatter, they have the Orbital Strike, both DPS ults as well. In Beesports Black, they use the Gravitic Flux, and they're going to have everything else online. So the biggest thing you have to watch out for, watch Ryan Optic with these Dragons in these close corridors, watch Puppy with this Transcendence to block off any damage.
Oh, big slam coming from Fatal Turtle. Forces the Transcendence to come out just like as you said, and we've just kind of taken Turtle out of the equation here. But humongous Dragons right where Fatal Turtle was going to be standing after that charge was absolutely massive. And just to secure the fight here, we had to use that Blizzard. So 3 ultimates invested for, honestly, 3 for 3. Not so bad.
3 for 3, not a bad trade at all. And we actually saw Jarbrain at the end there. You know, when you forget about a Venture, they tend to, you know, do some bad things to your DPS in the backline, right? Jarbrain actually getting that Tectonic Shock online, and Fatal Turtle actually switching over to the Zarya here, maybe a little bit more on the map like Havana.
And we have triple beams going on here. It kind of puts Frosty Jack in a little bit more of a precarious situation when you expend your, your hand. So I see the vision. I don't see Wisteria, unfortunately. Nor do I see Jarbrain. Shoto just kind of uncontested on the high ground on the Widowmaker. I know Jarbrain was definitely trying to go kill her, so not too much on them. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to go here, so much can happen, especially with this Tectonic Shock that Jarbrain is absolutely going to be popping off on this high ground. Ideally, I would solo Shoto, personally. I'm not a good person.
Yeah, Ma, you might see the vision, but unfortunately Shoto also does see their heads without that Reinhardt shield, and then we will be switching back over to the Reinhardt for Fatal Turtle. Give a little bit more protection to your team so that you don't get headshot by Shoto. In fact, Fresh is actually going to be doing the headshotting here. Window comes out and kills Fatal Turtle though, so that is a 1-for-1 trade at the start.
Honestly, a Widowmaker for a Reinhardt, very, very favorable trade for Beesports here. And they're just on this high ground for almost, you know, taking so much control of what limited high ground there kind of is on Havana, on second point Havana, may I say specifically, and dropping down onto Jarbrain, not able to get the kill off, but they're able to bury out of there right in the nick of time. We've lost your Baptiste, however, which is absolutely massive for BGSU. They have the Coalescence, they have Wisteria, they have taken out a whole DPS for SCAD Beesports, so smartly, Beesports can be backing up, waiting to reconvene because they have another touch here.
The Kirwolf is going to invest the Coalescence there, so only going to be the Tectonic Shock from Jarbrain coming out in this fight. For BGSU Falcons, finally, it took them a little bit, but they found out, hey, if we walk around, we minimize poke damage, we just take a brawl and force them off high ground. It usually works pretty well. Gravitic Flux and Dragons and Sights all coming out for Beesports Black. Immediately, Fatal Turtle is not going to live through that.
Oh no, another Dragons that kind of shuts down Fatal Turtle from being able to just play the game, you know? Wisteria doing their hardest to contest the car as much as possible. I don't think it's gonna be too much. Shoto still trying to get out. Wisteria getting their one, however, as you should on Juno, and still somehow living. We have lived for so long. That's my goat. Frosty Jack now on both sides here, trying to shoot us a little bit here and get contention here, but it won't be for too long. 75 HP at a simple axe, a hammer swing from Fatal Turtle.
And listen, Mott, I mean, Junos are hard to hit, right? I don't blame them. But now BGSU Falcons, they didn't invest in anyone for that fight. They're going to have everything besides this Coalescence coming up. And for Beesports Black, Saya switched over to the Kiriko for a second to stall. You use those 3 ults to come out, and now you only have Puppy's Transcendence. Into how much of a heavy ult bank we see from BGSU Falcons, it's gonna be hard. It's really gonna rely heavily on Shoto getting these opening picks, and like we talked about before, third point a little bit harder for this Reinhardt. It's a little bit more open. Let that Widowmaker get that free range.
And speaking of free, the progress on this cart, so good on third point, just because of how long the sideline is. You don't really want to contest that far into the first part of third point, right? So we're right near that corner. We're doing so well, and Shoto again underestimating Fresh's ability to hit these icicles on this Mei character. But we're down by a minute and a half. The cart only now starting to resume progress and forcing around, bending around the corner only recently. So again, ultimates are online, really close to the flux, but otherwise BGSU has their work cut out for them.
Yeah, close to the flux, but again, heavy ultimate advantages for BGSU Falcons. You know, Jarbrain has held on to this ult for a long time, but you have the ult protect, you have the, you know, the Blizzard coming out, and even if Fatal Turtle plays a little bit aggressive, you have the ults to potentially, you know, help him out. Maybe not with the Storm Arrow of Ryan Optic, but the Blizzard could be invested here. Fresh is up on the high ground towards the top right. Oh.
And also gets all their HP back, but I don't think they're gonna invest him. You have 45 seconds left on the clock, and when you're, oh my god, they have to get a really fast touch here.
Yeah, Jarbrain invested the Tectonic Shock. Maybe either think it was winnable or last fight, right? But, you know, you still have the Coalescence, you still have the Blizzard. But now, like you said, it's going to be last fight. You have to get a touch here, and the Gravitic Flux from Frosty Jack is incredibly dangerous in a situation like overtime. Window coming up, Dragons coming up for Beesports Black. This is going to be a very tough fight for BGSU Falcons, and the Flux is going to start it off.
Well, trying to find somebody, but finds nothing but the air. Good wiggle away from the edge of that flux from Fatal Turtle, and Frosty Jack gets the entire power of Jarbrain on that venture. Very nicely done from BGSU Falcons. Now, it's just all up to Shoto on this Ashe now to go and expend that Bob, which they absolutely do. Bob on the objective. Here's the Blizzard to, you know, to shut down this Bob here. Jarbrain just narrowly able to find the mini pack in that corridor in the nick of time. Fatal Turtle still on the objective, gets a shatter down on Saya. The Dragons from the spawn room, will it be enough? With the last minute contest coming in from Puppy on the with the Transcendence, it's all up to Ryan Optic to get a 1v4. It's not gonna happen today. A minute on the clock for BGSU versus 2.5 minutes for SCAD Beesports.
And what a phenomenal job from BGSU Falcons. You know, Frosty Jack maybe invested a little bit too early with the Gravity Flux. It's hard to say, right? But just scattering out that effectively and immediately punishing as soon as it misses. Really good job. Good job as well from Fatal Turtle to invest that Shatter and just secure that kill on Saya immediately. Make sure that they can't sustain through that, you know, overtime contest. Now, Mott, it's map 5. And we're going into overtime rounds. Both teams have over a minute right now, or exactly a minute for BGSU Falcons, who will be attacking first, and then 2.5 for Beesports Black. But now, BGSU Falcons, it feels like they've found their footing a little bit on this map, and they know what's starting to work for them.
It's that Reinhardt. We should have never strayed away from the Reinhardt in the greater Overwatch meta. It all comes back to Reinhardt. Always. All roads lead to Reinhardt.
And Frosty Jack is starting to realize that, hey, we need to deal with this Reinhardt. The Reinhardt is the issue here, so they're going to be switching over to the Ramatra here. You know, historically, you know, a decent counter to Reinhardt, but, you know, not the best right now in terms of, you know, how Ramatra's playing as a character. And when you don't have the sustain through with a Brawl, you know, running this Ashe, running this Hanzo, it's a lot harder. You really are relying on your DPS getting those off angles and Puppey getting that Discord Orb onto Fatal Turtle. But when you have Jarbrain and Fresh hitting those shots and controlling those off angles, it becomes a little bit difficult to try and play around that.
I mean, Frosty Jack has a Poseidon skin, so I trust him with my life on the Ramatra, you know? Ryan Optic on that high ground, sticking with the Hanzo, so now finding a new home with the Ashe rather than the Widowmaker. They know all they gotta do is hold it for a minute here. Less than even, 5 seconds already burnt down on the clock. And again, all BGSU Falcons has to do is hopefully get this to a 4th point, a 5th point even, right? Kira Wolf doing their best on the Moira now to contest the bottom of this payload, but Ryan Optic super aware of that positioning, punishes it with that Storm Arrow, and very nicely done as well. But here's the shield here, kind of breaks up the team of BGSU for a second. Here's Nemesis form and putting all the pressure on this discorded, may I say, Reinhardt, and that pommel reaches absurdly far. 10 seconds left on the clock.
It really does. Fatal Turtle discorded. It's really hard to live there. BGSU will likely be getting in touch here. They have their Diva swatch coming out. They have their Juno alive. They have their Moira alive. But no ultimates online, and you are getting closer and closer towards this Nemesis form and this Annihilation for Frosty Jack here.
Oh, and the Diva swap comes through. You know, you want to get that remake as much as possible with that Diva bomb, right? But I'm not sure if it's really gonna happen. Frosty Jack still alive and well on this objective itself. We are seeing, you know, you're being put down on this Nemesis form. You have to stay alive. The damage reduction is so good, but you lost Hysteria. You've lost that extra oomph factor, so all you have to rely on are those Moira heals and those Moira damage orbs to follow up on targets with, right? Saya ever closer to this window. The dragon expended, but whiffs on everybody. You've lost Moira. Bob is definitely going to be the one to secure the deal. Round 3 has been completed. We're going over to round 4.
Round 4, 2.5 minutes for Beesports Black to push around the corner. But critically, Falcons did get around the corner, and since they are opting into this heavier brawl style of Mott, it's overtime. There's 2 minutes. Do you know what that means?
It's Reinheim.
It's Ryan time, and we are close holding 100%. If you are BGSU Falcons, you have the opportunity to potentially get a full fight and another touch if we hold this spawn door a little bit more aggressively. And if we hold that first corner back, we're relying on the fact that we are winning every single fight and we're not leaving anything up to chance. I'm fully expecting BGSU Falcons to commit heavy into this brawl, but maybe they stick with the Diva. You can still spawn hold with the Diva. It's a little bit more difficult, obviously, but no Reinhardt. Fatal Turtle maybe not liking running Ryan into, you know, double sniper Ramatra Zenyatta, which I can't blame him.
Oh, definitely double sniper now with Shuttle now finding our way back home to the Widowmaker, which has done so much on this initial attack phase all the way back in the first attack for SCAD Beesports Black. So I already see the vision. Frosty Jack on this Ramatra, sticking with it so far, has the advantage of a 2.5 minute push factor and attack factor, and also your spawns right there. You want to see the Diva, you want to stop off, go something else, go back to the Queen, for example, go back to the Sigma. It's all up to them. But Jarbrain and Fresh on the double flex DPS backline, it's going to be very interesting to see how we're going to be seeing BGSU hold close, especially as we're already almost halfway to point completion.
Yeah, and since BGSU Falcons is playing so passive on this first corner, you know, they're kind of relying that they are going to win every fight, like we were talking about. And when you have 2 minutes, it gives Beesports Black the opportunity to just say, hey, we're going to try and just build a few ults up. And like we saw in map 1, Fatal Turtle needs to be very careful that he's not overcommitting and leaving the rest of his team to die here.
Shadow has to be very careful as well. I mean, you're seeing Fatal Turtle kind of ease in and out, kind of scaring Shadow from this spot, but even better is a beautiful flick against Jarbrain on this venture, and now suddenly it's all about the cart and no longer about keeping Shadow in check. Frosty Jack finding these consistent pummels right on through that defense matrix of Fatal Turtle. Now, Fatally, they have gone to the Baby Diva mode. They are no longer in the fight. Nemesis form reignited once again. We're still trying to get out of there, but fresh, no eyes but to be seen. And now we have Annihilation, and that's typically where your fight wins will be happening. Beautifully done from SCAD Beesports. Just Jarbrain left to contest with the burrow, but not for very long, getting kicked to the ground by Puppy. And that is SCAD Beesports finding the 3-2 in a nail-biter overtime Game 5 series.
Yeah, I mean, incredibly close series here in our lose 2, and for Beesports Black, they get their, lifeline. They get to keep playing throughout playoffs. Even as close as it was, okay, well, that's material to work on in the future. Unfortunately, BGSU Falcons, we will be saying goodbye to them as, they have now lost 2 games. They're out of double elimination. Phenomenal way to go out, bringing it down to the absolute wire under 2 minutes, for that final time bank. And it was a really good job from them. We've seen them fight a lot throughout playoffs, but unfortunately Beesports Black just had the adjustments, and hopefully they will continue to have the adjustments as we continue throughout playoffs.
Absolutely. And speaking of the playoffs, that's still going to be happening for the rest of December. I think until the 15th, ideally, is when we're going to be ending it with the rest of the grand finals from all those divisions. So, like as you can see here, November 18th to November 15th, I was right. Yes. So, again, we have so many things happening on all the CGL channels between 1 and 3. But besides all that, we do have an interview for you guys lined up right after this very quick break. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be having someone from SCAD Beesports come in and talk with us. Welcome back, everybody. After a riveting Map 5 series, an overtime on Havana, and ultimately a 3-2 scoreboard win, we have Shoto here representing SCAD Beesports Black. Shoto, buddy, how does it feel? How does it feel?
That was quite the match. That was quite the match. That's all I gotta say. But it feels great. So.
I mean, it was definitely an amazing match to watch. Nail biter through and through. Obviously, going back and forth, it wasn't like it was a sweep or anything like that. You'd see, you'd said on your team sheet, throughout the season, you guys are very comfortable on this JQ brawl comp, this JQ rush comp. You like playing this flashpoint. What were your thoughts after that map 2 loss? You go in thinking, oh well, we just won map 1. We're going to our comfort map pick, and then you come out, you end up losing a pretty close flashpoint map. Did you have any concerns at that point that it was going to take a little bit longer than you expected?
Yeah, I think coming out of there, we were a little bit concerned about just losing that map, but I told them all as well. Everything else was good, so we just locked in and decided to play what we needed to play. So
of course, he's got to lock in. Speaking of locking in, I have to ask. So a couple of comps, we did see JQ first for the good portion of the first 2 or 3 maps, and then suddenly something shifted on Colosseo. You saw the Reinhardt come out from the other side of the team. You saw a Malco, you saw a Sigma at some point. Did that inspire you guys a little bit to change up that JQ a little bit, or was it just like, hey, we can do this a little bit better than them, we can play Sigma better than them? What was the plan going in as you saw them kind of swapping off like any other characters?
Right there on the end of Colosseo, we were getting a little bit worried. They had us almost at the end, but we decided to kind of just match them and see what we could do. We felt like our mechanics were, the better mechanics. Not to throw any shade, but we just relied on getting those crazy picks. So that's kind of what we did there.
And you mentioned crazy picks, especially on a traditional hit scan roll, it happens a lot, but especially on a Widowmaker. And like Mont said, you started the series off, you were playing a lot of that JQ comp. Then we watched you switch over into that poke with Havana, and it seemed like you guys were so comfortable on that. Is poke a style that you guys have played historically a lot, or is that something that you really just only opted into during the series?
We've done a few different variations of poke within our scrims and in past stuff, but especially on that map there, Havana, with payload being the only choice left for the maps, we figured it would be good just to hopefully let me pop off on Widow and to see what we could do on the rest of the team. So.
Oh yeah, and you popped off. And you popped off.
So did the rest of the team. I'm not.
Oh, you did. Yeah, absolutely. You guys won, of course. You all popped off.
Absolutely, yeah.
The Widowmaker was a very good choice, I think. You also went to the Ashe, you went to the Widowmaker. Everyone did absolutely amazing. So, for your final question, speaking of everyone being amazing, why don't you shout it out? Who do you want to give a shout out to on the live stream?
I would love to get a shout out to, manager, Mana, Saya. Absolutely incredible manager. Thank you for getting us out here. And the rest of the team. People that couldn't make it tonight as well, and then my Twitch chat for being very supportive, so love that for everybody. So
no, of course. Hi Twitch chat if you're seeing this on Shoto's end there, but that's all we have for you today. You have a very well-earned break. You guys got a 3-2 nail-biter series. I mean, it went the distance. You had been playing for a very long time, so take the night off, reconvene, get ready for your losers round 3 match, and I hope to see you guys back on the stream very, very soon.
Thank you.
And that is all that there is, Toast. We had our match. It was a game 5-er. We had our interview, and now it's the arguably the most boring part of the stream is closing out because I don't want to. But unfortunately, there's no more streams, at least on this end of things. But I believe there is another banger happening on a separate CGL channel. I want to say we can see the schedule really fast. Yes. Got you. Okay. We are gonna be seeing... Oh, there actually is a next stream match. Wait, I lied everyone. There's still a next stream match happening over here. It is the NA Console Open, losers round 4, Vicious Control versus Vicious Shark. So a vicious team kill. Possibly in that... Wait, I didn't even know how that sounded. It is a vicious organization team kill happening. for the next stream matches. I love the Vicious Org. Lots of people in that top 8 bracket. I'm sorry, in that playoffs bracket. Correction. So that's gonna be next on stream. So we actually don't have to close out. Oh my god, guys! I love this. So
I love continuing this stream.
I love continuing the stream. Yes. So any last words before we hand it off to the NA Console Open?
I mean, I just wanted to give a huge thank you, Mott, for casting with me. I know how hard. So I appreciate you coming out here. I appreciate all of our observers, obviously our producer, Rhino, for all being out here and helping us out, and my dog Jax, who decided he wanted to show up at the very end there. So.
Oh my god! Hi, Toes Dog. Okay, we have to go. Get ready for NA Console Open. Stay tuned for that. But we're gonna be going out. Goodbye, everybody. See you guys in a couple of minutes at 10 o'clock for NA Console Open.